Hello YouTubers, my name is Albert and I will be performing oil pump conversion on a 2005 Volkswagen Passat Turbo Diesel. The Pumpadusa Diesel 2.0 liter engine, turbocharged engine. I'm going to be showing you a couple of videos. It's probably going to be pretty long, but bear with me because this is something necessary that needs to be done on this kind of a car that has the balance shaft module and the hex key and the chain and the tensioner and the sprocket, all those things that can go wrong with it. You know, it's worth doing this procedure than letting it sit aside and having to destroy such a brilliant vehicle, such a good fuel economy type of a car. Anyway, I'm not liable for any of your mistakes. This is just a video to show how it's done. So use the information at your own risk. This video will include how to take off the front end. Then it'll be how to lower the suspension, take off the oil pan, take off the timing belt, put the timing belt back on, cleaning the intake manifold. Also how to properly test something for leaks, like an oil pan or anything that is broken or something that has been welded, tested if it's leaking or not with diesel. Replacing the seals for the camshaft and the crankshaft. This video will also cover what's underneath the rocker cover, or if you call it a valve cover. We will also demonstrate the sounds before and after, and show you oil pressure that I have at the end. So there's this video, and also, you know, little things like changing your oil, or I guess cleaning out your intake, just the air box, you know, the filter. If you never change your filter, then you might as well clean it or something. So just bear with me, guys. I recorded these videos myself. I just did it as I went along, and as I took breaks from working on the car, I just made little snap videos. I didn't have anyone to help me, so the videos are sort of shaky, and you might get car sick. Then pause the video, don't throw up, then play the video again. And the sound should be good. You know, some areas, I'm using a cell phone, Note 3, so the quality is kind of decent, and you know, since I'm holding the cell phone, I might cover the sound sometimes with my hands, but everything should be pretty straightforward. So here we go, guys. So what you're gonna need for this conversion kit to actually work right is a few little things. You're gonna need this windage tray. You're gonna need oil pump. You're gonna need a chain, the sprocket, and a tensioner. And when you get the sprocket from the dealer, because I don't think you can get anywhere else, I had a little bit of an issue with them. Well, when I went there, they actually showed me a picture of this, and they said your part is right there, the 1A. And I was a little bit confused with them, because, you know, that's a gear. And why are they showing me a gear when I need a chain sprocket? This is a, you know, chain. It's a gear for the oil pump for the newer versions of the Volkswagens, so they don't have this kind of issue. But anyway, why are they showing me this piece of crap when that's actually not what I'm looking for? And so with that in mind, I decided to go next door to the Audi dealer, and Audi Volkswagen is the same. So just out of curiosity, try to see what's up, and give them the same part number. and they actually give me a picture of the right thing right there. You see? So if that's the same thing and Volkswagen shows me something else, I just decided to say all hell with it and go and actually, you know, buy it, because I didn't have much time. But when I showed up over there was a different dude working, and I asked him a little bit about this information, and he actually read some comments on it that it said that that part has 19 teeth, and you know, this gear right here can't possibly have 19 teeth. No. So that's what led me to the conclusion that what I'm ordering is actually what I need, because this thing does actually have 19 teeth, and it's a special order. So if you get it, and if it will happen to be this thing, then you can't return it, and that's it. There's a waste of your $60 right there. The chain has 25 links. The sprocket on the oil pump has 31. The numbers, if you're trying to find the part number on the oil pump, like if you get an oil pump and you don't know if it's the right thing, the numbers are actually going to be like on this side. There it says 60A 115 105B. In the beginning, you're going to need to remove the front end, and with that, the bumper comes off, the bumper cover comes off as well. These shocks would need to come off so you can get to the main bolts that hold the radiator support. With that, before that, you need to remove the headlights, obviously. 2 bolts on each side. You need to drain your transmission fluid. No, I'm just kidding. But you need to drain your engine oil, you need to drain the coolant, and you need to drain the refrigerant somehow. or you can fancy yourself and just take this radiator off and like move it to the side or something. I mean, I have access to the machine, so I'm not gonna worry about that. I'm just gonna drain it, disconnect it, and probably just, you know, take the whole piece as one unit and put it down somewhere. You know, disconnect the flanges in there. This top flange. This looks like, right here looks like a cooler line for the transmission fluid. So this piece right here, I'm gonna have to see where this goes. If it looks to me like it's just coming from the side here. Anyway, once I disconnect that, I can just put that to the side and see if that will work. Miscellaneous plastics need to go. Less things to put away later. I recommend you to put bolts back in their original spots. So, like, I have this bolt underneath here already for easy removal. There's going to be a piece here and here connecting together on both sides that you need to remove. It would be, it's like a two-piece, and then I use the middle bolt to connect them together. But that holds, obviously, the fender to the radiator support, so that needs to go. And it's on both sides, like I said. I think that's about it. I just have it prepared right now like this because I'm gonna need to take it to the shop, so it's still drivable like this. Hopefully no rocks go into here, you know, while I'm driving. Obviously put your license plate, secure it somehow. Let's see, the probably the most difficult part of this whole job is taking this piece off, because this piece is on like a metal. Let's see if I can zoom it in. There. This piece is on like a metal shaft that goes like that, and then this goes in and clamps over it. And this little piece of metal that holds it on top doesn't really hold anything. It's actually really crappy, but this piece can hold on it by itself. And these things are really fragile. Look at it, it's all wobbling around and moving the whole assembly. Taking it off is one thing. You can actually pull on this while you're taking it off, but putting it back on, it'll just be like flying in there. So you need to like put something back there to hold it. Put like a screwdriver in there and open it up and try to wobble it around. You need to do this before you, this is like the first thing you need to do, because the grill sits right here, and you need to take that out before you can pop the grill out. Don't try to play around with it and think you're some smart ass that can get around it. No, just don't break another one of these precious pieces, because you don't see too many of them on the car still. So I have mine's back on, so you can actually close the hood. And you know, once the radiator support is gone, then there's no use for this. But since it's still there and I need to drive to somewhere, then I'll just have it like this. So I'm in progress of doing this conversion, and as you can see, I removed radiator support, the headlights, you know, disconnected everything. You have to remove the air shock pipe that goes it's like an intercooler pipe that goes across, connects these two pipes together, and it also works as a front engine mount. Let's see, you're gonna see these pipes right here? These pipes actually go down like this, and they hook up to the radiator. So it's gonna be difficult to realize that these pipes don't need to be taken off. I mean, you can unscrew them right there, but there's a little clip in between that you can push out of the way, and this will come off easily. So other than that, I have the engine supported by the engine hoist, and this is actually, was kind of difficult to put it on because this is such a big slope down here. This always slides, and
No, I don't have these little rubbers that go underneath there either. So I made myself like a little stopper. And this, I tested it out. It's not gonna go anywhere. Screwed it in pretty deep. It's a pretty deep bolt down there. Yeah. So let's see. The next step would be to remove the front two engine mounts. So we have the car in the air, and this is the rear suspension bolts. These are gonna be the front. This is gonna be the engine mount, and let's see, that bolt, and that bolt would need to be removed. So I'm gonna use one of these guys, put it underneath this area, take these 3 bolts out on both sides. Also take off the bolt on top of this engine mount and this bolt below too, just to make life easier. And I'm also going to be replacing these. And as much as you want to take this bolt off, you really shouldn't. This is right here. We're going to take these 2 completely off, and we're going to unscrew this a little bit. So vice versa, we're going to screw this a little bit to see how much it goes down, and then we're going to take these completely off. And only then I'll unscrew the front ones. And with this guy right here, we're going to start lowering it to see how the suspension right here plays out. Do all that shit just so we can get to these bolts down there. And I believe on the forums I read that just because the balancer is right there, it's difficult to remove it. So that's why this needs to be lowered in the first place, because there is clearance here, there's some space. Yeah, there's space here. It's just, that's what needs to be done. I have lowered the suspension by this much on both sides. Right there. And there's definitely access now to the bolts that are on the oil pan. See those 3 oily bolts? That fat one on top, you don't need that. All the bolts that go around this, even in here they are through the holes, you can see them. There's 1, there's 2. Let's see. I think that one, you need to remove that one for sure. And you're probably gonna need to use like a wrench. Just put the wrench in there and turn it little by little. Let me see. Interesting. These bolts do look like they were stripped. Someone had been here before. Remove this oil pan and see what's up. See what's really has been going on. As you can see, all my belts are still here, because I'm not too sure if this modification has been made already. Everybody says, oh, if it's more than 3.5 quarts of oil, then that means it's already been done, this and that. I don't know. It's making the sound. I took both of these belts off, as you can hear it. Like I've taken both of these belts off and I've listened, and it was the same exact thing. So it's definitely none of these pulleys, not even this thing, because this thing can only be spun by this belt right here. So it definitely didn't sound like something from the cam area, you know, under the rocker cover. I'm pretty sure it's not that. So hopefully it's in here, because I already got all the parts I need. So I have removed the oil pan. Let's get this light out of the way. This right here is the balance shaft module, whatever. To be honest, the most difficult thing that was about this part was so like I said, there's a couple bolts here, and then the one that I was talking one that was up here. So what happened was this bolt started spinning, and this bolt was backwards, not like all of these. So these were all bolts, and this was a nut. And so for some reason I thought that what happened is something inside broke, something like was spinning on the inside, and I almost tried to cut the damn thing, but I called my uncle. He told me that there's actually a nut on the other side right here, so it goes into here, and the nut's right, and the nut was right here, but the bolt was right here. So I put an Allen wrench in there, and slowly but surely I got her off. When the suspension's like this, you can easily push it down a little bit. I didn't have that much issues taking out the oil pan. Don't forget that there's 2 long bolts that go in here and there, and they go in kind of crooked. You can't really see it here, but this bolt and this bolt, and then those 3 bolts and a whole bunch of little 10 millimeters. You know, the balance shaft looks okay, not like what I see in other people's cars, but like I can see the chain inside. Everything looks fine, but I'm going to take it out. Oh, and one more thing. Now that the oil pan is removed and I'm reassured that I do have this balance shaft thingamajig, I can further take off these belts, because I was unsure, because I ended up putting like almost 4 quarts of oil, and people were saying that if you put a lot of oil in the engine, then that means, you know, this thing is missing. And someone else that I know told me, that did the same mod, told me that he ended up putting 5 quarts at the end. So that's why I was worried. And there's no way of actually, I mean, I don't know, you can judge me all you want, but I don't know if there's any way of telling if this mod has been made, you know, besides the fact that it's making a shit ton of weird sounds. There's nothing but bad reviews about this thing, even though it looks nice. You know, this piece is all intact. You could see the tensioner pushing on the, you know, you can kind of push it back, and you can see that that has the chain has tension. So anyway, you know, I'm not falling for this, and we're gonna further diagnose this. But before I can get to this junk, I have to take care of the timing belt, meaning that I'll have to set it to TDC. I borrowed some of those little fancy little tool thingies that you stick into the crankshaft and the camshaft and whatnot to hold everything together. And we're gonna see how this Pumpadooza Medusa works out on the insides, internals, after we take all that out. Okay, so I managed to remove the front cover. Before that, I removed the timing belt. The timing is actually off, because when I removed the timing belt, what happened was I pulled it on off of here, and this turned this way. And I also loosened this, and it turned after that, so I'm not even too sure what actually moved. I know the whole piece moved, but I don't know how much it moved inside. Probably the same distance. Other than that, this looks in really good shape. There's no cracks on it, like nothing's worn out. You can even see the tensioner. It's in really good shape. tensioner is really good shape. But like I said, there's nothing but bad reviews about this. And I'm gonna change it. One more thing about this is, you know, when you're using these tools, it was my first time using this tool, and I know I read on the forums not to remove the crankshaft pulley. I mean, remove the crankshaft bolt and just having this in there. So I also put an Allen wrench all the way on top right here to secure this and that at the same time, and turned it. And with all that stupidity, I you know, broke this piece. I put it back in there. I don't know, I'm gonna go talk to some people. Maybe if I could just silicone it from the back. It depends how much it costs. If I can get it from Worldpack, or maybe if I can get a reasonable price from the dealer, then just, you know, get the whole thing. But be aware, guys, don't do what I did. It was kind of dumb. The tools actually are useless at this point because, you know, the shit broke, everything became off balance. I started churning this thing started moving, that thing jumped, like I said. So yeah, everything is off balance, and I'm gonna need to do a really good timing on this car before I can churn it by hand. My situation right now is removing these bolts, and since there's nothing holding it down, I think if you can remove all these bolts and start churning it like this piece will go inwards, and there will be a little bit of slack for me to remove this. And even if this chain is damaged, I don't really give a shit because I have a different one. But so far, everything looks nice. Everything looks good. Nothing looks like it's bad. You know, car has 178,000 miles. It's pretty obvious that this thing has been already changed down there. So it looks good. Alright. Alright, so I have taken off the balance shaft module / pump, and as you can see, the sprocket for the balance shaft is in really good shape. The teeth are nice. The teeth are nice all the way around. Everything's good here. This is the balance shaft module. The tensioner is in really good shape as well. So what's the whole purpose of doing this thing? The whole purpose is actually not in there. Truth lies deep within. So you've seen this before plenty of times. It goes around like this, comes back here. This is the pump. This is the hex key. And you're gonna see something interesting. See that right there? The key is not moving right there. It's moving now, right there, and it's moving back like that. But look at that play. That is a lot of play. That is a significant amount of play. Like, that's not even tolerable. So this car has 178,000. It looks like someone been here before. Somebody did some kind of, maybe they changed this piece, didn't change that. Maybe they changed this at all. I'm gonna get rid of the system once and for all. Just because of that right there. So this whole job right here, for me, is because of this. Because everything looks great. So once again, guys, this is it. A good thing to also do is to take off one of these the crankshafts bearings, I guess. The main bearing for the crankshaft, and the bearing Well, you know, these things right here, you know, I'm not that fluent in vocabulary and what these things are called, but I took the main one here and the one for the piston on the other side. I don't try to do them both together because this is actually balanced. So you want to do one here, one there, so at least there's something holding it in the middle. Yes. And you have to check them. So as you can see, there's no scratches on it. And this one, you can see there's a yellow line in the middle. That indicates wear, but there's still no scratches on it. Because it's really important to look for these scratches, because that means someone ran without oil for a while. Alright, and this is the other end. Oop. It's good to keep your bolts in the way they were for these type of applications. As you can see, this thing looks nice. There's a slight scratch, but you can't really feel it with your finger. I think this is fine. On the crankshaft, I mean on the piston, this thing right here, mine actually came off. This black stuff on the edges indicates wear. This car does have 178,000 miles, but this is still good. They're not scratches, they're just oil residue marks. My guess is that the person didn't change their oil in a long time. So, so I'm going to show you guys where is that bolt that you need to plug. Because remember that this balance shaft needs to have a line of oil that goes to it to lubricate it. And then if you're doing this modification and you don't plug this hole up, then you're gonna have to do it anyways later, because you're gonna have no oil pressure. Oil is just gonna be coming down, you're gonna be pushing it up, it's just gonna be coming down, there's gonna be no oil pressure, and which is bad. There's a bolt there, and there's a bolt there, and this hole is the hole that you actually need to plug up. You can't really see any grooves in there. Come on, focus. Alright, so once again, the reason why I have this one marked is because this piece that's going to be going in here, it's going to be holding on right there on that side, and on this side that's where it's going to screw into your pump that you're putting in, and that's the hole that needs to be tapped and died. You need to make threads and you need to block it off. Alright, once again guys, this hole is to hold up the windage tray, and that hole is to just plug it up somehow. Like, I'm planning to tap and die it, screw a bolt in there, and that's it. Okay, so after you have checked, this is an optional thing, but if you're going down here, you know, maybe you might as well check the bearings for the rods and the crankshaft bearings, the main bearings, I'm not a real fan of torquing things, but these right here is a must. No way to go around these. You have to look up on all data your specification torques, and for these ones right here, it's a must. You have to do it. So you have to torque these bolts for sure when you put them back, and it's pretty simple to put them back the way they were. As you can see, those numbers 2, 3, and there's a 1 right there underneath the oil. So obviously that tells you which way that goes. And on these, there's like a BHS or something like that on each side, and on the other side is the Audi symbol. So these also can only go one way. That's the way to check. So I got my heating gun, and I'm heating up the sprocket. I'm gonna try to get it as hot as I can, pretty much until both of my hands get tired, and then I'll try to take this off with my glove here, my welding glove. So you can use a pulley or whatnot, but I'm gonna see if this method works. Okay, I'm trying to stay away from the crankshaft area because I don't want to heat that as well, but I'm pretty sure, since nothing else is touching this besides the crankshaft, it's gonna start getting bigger at the crankshaft area, and there's gonna be just enough space to slide it out. And if it'll go a little bit, that's even good. If it'll go all the way, that'll be nice. But let's see how this works. A friend of mine came over that did the same modification to actually show me where the hole that I need to plug. But the same guy helped me take off the sprocket, and this sprocket ended up breaking in half. So we heated it up with not a heat gun, but actually a freaking torch. Got it really hot, got it to the point where all the oil around it was burning, and even this thing caught on fire for a little bit. But as you can see right here, I'm taking my time with the tap and die. You know, doing other things while my hands take a break. That's about it. Take your time, guys. If you're willing, if you're gonna do the tap and die thing, please take your time. Don't let it break inside. Okay, so this is the piece that I broke, and fortunately in the department next door, in the welding department, there was a personnel there that was very helpful and very aware of how to properly weld aluminum, cast aluminum actually. This is for you heads out there that are into welding or know any welding background. This is really shitty metal. It's composed of a bunch of crap, and it's also aluminum based. So he took him a while, but time's not the factor here. He made a really good weld on the other side. What I did, oh my god, it's leaking. You can see that it's leaking. It's definitely leaking. So this is a test to see if the weld he did leaks through or not, and it definitely does leak because there's a you can see it right there. So he only had time to weld from one side, but hopefully on the next day he'll be able to weld the other side, and I'll have to do this leak test again. This is diesel that I'm using, and if you guys know, diesel is hygroscopic, so it can crawl in any kind of little holes. So that's why there's a little puddle right there. because it's seeping through the weld cracks, stuff that he missed. I don't know. I think hopefully if he can weld it from the inside, there's not gonna be any seepage. So this is the weld. The welds pushed through on the other side. It pushed through the cracks. So I don't know. I actually I don't remember what method that he told me that he used to weld, but for this he did a really good job. And if you guys were wondering, when making that thread, how deep can you actually go in there? Because these oil lines might have multiple passages that connect to each other, or it might swerve to the side, it might turn, it might be an angle. So when you're doing the tap and die, and if you're going straight and it starts to go at an angle, then that's it. You need to stop there. But I have this 1/4 inch extension, and well, first look, this 1/4 inch extension goes in there all the way, and it's a tight fit. It moves a little bit, it's a tight fit. It's not like I'm forcing it in there, it slides in there nicely. And this is longer than the bolt that I'm going to be putting in, and the thickness. This is thicker obviously, but the thickness is similar. The worst thing possible that could happen happened. My tap broke and this whole piece was inside of the block. It was sticking out. It was in there, sticking out about you know, this much right here. It broke on me probably at the very end. And from what I can tell you is, you know, these are cheap Chinese tap and dies and taps, and they're really fragile. So, you know, it's a rookie mistake, but you know, I didn't have any other taps, so I used this one. And thank God that it broke in such a nice way where I was able to put some vice grips and churn it slowly, and then it started coming out. You know, it took me about an hour just to figure that out. Tried all kinds of methods. People say if this actually gets stuck in there, people say to use like a punch to punch it on the sides. I wouldn't do that because this metal is very fragile, this one, and it will just break and break, and you'll just chip it off until it's flat. So this is a dangerous, you're pretty much playing with fire, you know, if you're doing a tap with the Chinese tap. If you're doing that procedure, you know, this can happen to you, and as it happened to me, I was able to extract it. So the bolt that I had, I just cut her off. There it is. It should be fine. It should go in there nicely. Probably like that. And then I'm going to make like a little flat surface here so I can screw it in with a screwdriver. And what am I gonna do is from here to here I'm gonna have Loctite right here. From here to here I'm gonna have Loctite, but from here to here I'm gonna have some silicone on the threads. And before putting this in, I will blow out the hole that I tapped with, and
and I will you know, clean it really thoroughly with some brake cleaner so there's no oil, and so with this thing too. And then I'll just screw it in there and let it do its magic. I just used a heating gun and I left it on, and as you can see, the wood that I had it on started catching on fire. So I kind of, and this is where it was sitting, so I kind of just picked it up and finished it off like this for a little while. Then just with my glove, grabbed it really fast and put her on, and it slid on really nicely. It slid on really nicely, and I just moved it here and there for like a couple of moments and pushed it in, and that's it. It's just sat on there. What I'm trying to say is, once I picked it up and I put it on, it slid in all the way. Then I was holding it there, and I was moving it like side to side, and as soon as it stopped moving, it told me that it seized up. It, you know, shrunk, because this is cold and this is hot. So it shrunk and it's sitting there, and it's not gonna go anywhere. And this is how I put it. You can see the part number, so it's not the other way around. So you have to actually see the part number, and the other side goes in there. So I have this on just so I can measure where I need to make a hole into this thing. And before you should be doing any of this, like before even putting this thing on, or you can put this thing on and then you have to take one of these things, whatever these are called, and make sure you to get off all that extra silicone that was there, all around there. You know, it's gonna be the easiest thing before putting this stuff on. But the next step after doing that, yeah, to figure out where you put this hole, and I'm gonna show you what am I gonna engineer in this little location. On the windage tray, make sure to shave off this little thing that sticks out. These things on both sides, they stick out a little bit, so you gotta shave that off so it sits there nice and flat. And I made the marks where I'm gonna be drilling the hole right there, and you'll see my little modification that I'm gonna do. Alright, so what I did is I bought some of this 2-piece epoxy / JB Weld. You cut a piece off that you need to use, and you mix it together with your hands like clay, and then you form an object. So I formed a little thing here, and this bonded in like 5 minutes. It got really hot, and then I started grinding things away that are unnecessary and made a perfect little housing for it. So there you are. The modification is complete. There it is. This is what I was talking about. As you can see, it started cracking a little bit, or separating from the top, this piece. Like, I can put my nail in there, but this crap is rock solid. It said it would solidify in like it'll take form in 5 minutes and complete in an hour. So I had it form. I didn't wait all the way to the whole hour mark, but there is Loctite underneath that bolt, and Loctite underneath that bolt. Remember the one that we had to plug? And everything else is screwed on by hand. I mean tightened by hand. The chain is not loose at all. It's actually pretty decent, pretty good. The tensioner is giving it good tension. I put the metal thing in here. And now it's just the time of putting back things together. Alright, so what I have right here is the oil pan. I threw it in the dishwasher. Well, not a real dishwasher, but you know, the dishwasher for car parts. Came out all nice and clean. There was a few things that were concerned, so I filled it up with diesel all the way to the top, about a centimeter below the top, which is good. Got it sorta leveled, but it doesn't matter. It will all eventually get on this edge right here. I put some cardboard underneath so it can absorb the diesel if it falls. It'll be a circle. It won't be like that. That's definitely not that. And let me just show you what I was concerned about. So, let me see. See that right there? Starts up here. And it goes around. Some crap there. Looks like someone was trying to prepare it for a weld and didn't quite take the job. There's another piece here that worries me a lot. Like all these things right here, like, you know, I'm not too sure if that's how it's supposed to be with the circles around. You know, I can see the whole, I can see the dent, and then the circles around the dent. Big old circle around this dent, like a double circle. And then this part right here, that looks like almost like a crack to me. If you look underneath. Okay, so this is where the crack is. Not too happy about that either. So since I have some time now, because nobody works on Sunday, first of all, and I still haven't got that piece welded from the inside. And in the meanwhile, I'll just do this, leave it overnight, cross my fingers, and hope that everything will be alright. Something to keep in mind is, yes, you need to have something underneath. Cardboard, paper towels, not a towel. I don't know. I don't think that would be visible enough. But, so I filled it up in this 2-gallon thing. 2 gallons were perfect. There's some left over. So, okay, so you see this is all oil, covered in diesel and nice and shiny. What I did is I leaned it over where the end of it was here and where it was pouring right here. So it was dripping through the can all the way at the bottom, dripping in here, and I was pouring in here. I was pouring very carefully, holding it sideways, you know, pouring it like this, because I don't want to get any of the splashes to go around. I looked all over. There was some here that I wiped off really fast, because I don't want to pretty much self-induce this test to fail. because plenty of times you can spill it on accident, not even notice. It'll drip. It'll seek to the end and it'll drip and look perfectly like a, you know, like perfectly like it would look like if it would fail and really have a crack in it. So that's why with these tests, if it passes, it passes from the first time. If it fails, you gotta do it like 3 times so you're reassured that you haven't, and then you have to clean it after every time. So it's not like there's any diesel left over. So that's why this method works really well, but you have to be very careful. And I'm gonna leave this overnight. As you see, with that previous thing, the diesel seeped through really fast, and it was right away making like after like 5 minutes, it was already, or maybe even less than 5 minutes, was making a little spot. This thing has like 1.5 gallons of diesel, and it still haven't made a drop yet. But I'm not gonna be fooled. I'm gonna leave it overnight, and then put all this diesel back in my car, because this is clean, so it's gonna be fine.